Welcome back to the On the Pony Express podcast. Very excited to be joined by SMU running backs coach and special teams coordinator Kyle Cooper. We got the fans outside. They're trying to get in here to cheer us on.
Breaking down the door.
The cheer camp. But really excited to have you on. You are coming off of a big year for Brashard Smith. Really, really cool to see him break out under your leadership. But you've also been here, before Rhett Lashley was the head coach. So lots to get into with you. Really excited to get you out of the heat of camp and get a few minutes. But how's everything right now? You've got camp, official visits, getting the new guys in. This is a mini sprint of June for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated part of our calendar in that it's loaded up. And we get a little breather after recruiting in May to kind of press the reset button, and then it's June and it's full swing. And then obviously we'll have a little bit of time off in July before we get going in August. But June has everything all in together with camp season, recruiting, getting our guys, like you said, our incoming guys and our previous team all together. So probably about 98% of our guys are here now, and we got to be with those guys this morning. And so it's an exciting time where you got a lot of different elements coming together. So.
How's the balance of that? It helps, I'm sure, that the staff has been expanded. We were talking about all the different recruiting staffers and interns and support staff that has really grown under, Coach's watch, and, J.R. Sandlin, and you've got Damon Evans now running the show. So how much does that help you guys, try and balance everything that you guys have to focus on?
It does. It's a tremendous help. You talk about an endeavor like the mega camp we're doing today and yesterday, where you've got close to 1,000 kids and 200 colleges represented in some form or fashion on campus, and the things you don't think about, logistics that the coaches, we don't have to think about. We can coach the camp, we can evaluate. Somebody has to do the dirty work. You and I both at some point in time have had those jobs where someone is on paper to open doors. Over there today. Someone's on paper to take the trash out. Someone's on paper to take height and weight, those mundane tasks that, someone's going to do them. And because we have that someone doing it, the unsung heroes over there, we're able to kind of just evaluate. And that's one example of the camp.
All the way back to your first time here before you ended up going to Miami with Coach, what has the journey been like to see SMU? And also that was when the mega camp kind of started as well, the whole run of doing that.
I think the biggest jump, obviously with spending the 2018 and 2019 season here at SMU with Coach Dykes and that staff, coming back in 2022 was a little bit of, kind of welcome home, but not much has really changed. But just the course of the last, now 3 years and 3 seasons of looking around and see the change that's happened in the past 18 months with the ACC move and the move into our new building and the addition of staff. And you look around and it's a different place. And it's a feel that it's a different place. The success of last season made us a different, a logo in recruiting. And it's, we've told recruits on the road and in their house, like, it's the best time to be here, and it's not going anywhere. So we're excited.
You had Brashard Smith last year. That has to make it a lot easier to talk with some of these running back recruits that you guys are after. You've got one committed. We can't talk about him, but he's a high-end prospect. And, just building the room that you now have, it's completely changed over. But, a lot of what Brashard brought to this team last year, I don't know how you try to put that back on the field, but you've got a lot of options to do it too. But talk about Brashard and just kind of that journey to helping make that happen.
Yeah, when we got him and we were starting to talk about bringing him in, it landed on always going to be a running back spot, and Coach and I bounced that off each other and landed on the juice is worth the squeeze with him, and it proved to come to fruition. Did we know he was going to be All-American type player and all-purpose?
Like to say yes.
Yeah, I tell the staff that I had an inkling, but there's certain things that had to come into place. He had to get the opportunity. He had to seize that opportunity, and he had to stay healthy.
Yeah.
We did a good job limiting him at times and letting him go at times, and with his versatility, outside the backfield and inside the backfield, it proved to be a real fit for what we wanted to do. And, you talked about how it helps in recruiting. Now it's a tremendous value because, when you go into someone's home and, I address the room as the running backs coach, it really, there needs to be something there. There needs to be some, resume to go back on. There needs to be some level of success that says that, we can do this and I can do this and your kid can do this if you entrust him with us. And I would be lying to say if that's not a big deal.
And, you take a wide receiver basically that had never played the position and turn him into a Kansas City Chief.
Yeah.
I mean, could you write the script any better?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, even your coach talking about him being,
Yeah.
we think he could be Isaiah Pacheco. Now it's kind of working out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it didn't take long when he was on campus, on the field, to know that he was going to be a difference maker for us. When you think when you're watching it, and then the defensive staff is kind of confirming it with you, and then you get into games, and it's like every little milestone is reached to where, he can do this, and then, he always had the talent to do it, and the NFL stuff, and how well he was going to run, and yeah, you start to flip the pages on that and see like this dude. Yeah, this story was written.
Chris Johnson Jr., Derrick McFall, T.J. Harden, Dramekco Green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pretty strong group of talent.
Yes.
What you've gotten a chance to work with two of them. One, you, as we're recording this, have seen one day on campus in
Yeah.
workouts, I believe. But CJ and Derrick McFall, what did you see from them this spring, and did that really cement in your mind that they can do this?
Yeah. I mean, leaving spring, we had going into spring, we had a really good idea of who Derrick McFall was. We didn't really know what we were going to get from CJ. We knew we were going to get into an elite athlete and elite speed. But this spring, he showed that he was a little bit more than that. And then Derrick had a great spring. Both those guys together had great springs. Now they're competitive with each other. They do a lot of the same things well, but they're not the same, if that makes sense. Chris is a little taller, little leaner even. Both are not big guys, but both possess the ability to flex out a little bit if we want to do that. They both have receiver backgrounds, like Burchard. So some of that stuff they both can do. And they both got, real juice and can break a touchdown run or touchdown pass at any times. And that's what makes a good coach, is when you can throw it to the swing out, behind the line of scrimmage, and that thing breaks. And both those guys can do that. Conversely, T.J. Harden and Dramekco Green are bigger backs, more all-purpose backs. Not to say that Derrick and Chris can't be three-down backs, because obviously that's our goal, not to have anybody in niche roles. But T.J. and Dramekco, while they're probably 5 years apart in age, which is they're both explosive athletes, and they're both one has had. I'll talk about TJ first. Mm-hmm. TJ's been a 2-year starter at UCLA in the Pac and then in the Big Ten. He's had on-field success. He's played in big games, and what we liked about him and in the eval process was his biggest games of his career were against USC.
Good.
It's big. So he showed up in those big games.
Yeah.
And he didn't cower down to that. So we're excited about him. He's a big guy, like we were talking about. He's probably 6'1", 230 right now. I just saw a video on Instagram of him dunking. So he's got explosiveness. And then Dramekco we're excited about him. I'll leave it at that. He's gonna have to help us this year. You mentioned 4 guys. We, in all likelihood, those are the guys who we're gonna go try and win the ACC with. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how difficult is it? Because I know you were excited about Derrick McFall when you guys signed him, but obviously you ended up kind of behind some guys and things like that. But you know what Dramekco Green did Chunky did as a senior, and what he did as a junior, and you're kind of licking your chops, but you're trying to
in your world, those CJ, Derrick, and Dramekco are all 4-star, highly recruited guys. Actually, TJ, who's at UCLA coming here, remembers Derrick when he was committed to UCLA. So there's like a little UCLA connection there. But, all very, very highly touted guys. And so when you see Derrick this spring step into a bigger role and him know it, that's when you kind of saw that confidence grow. And Dramekco now kind of swimming and trying to figure it out until we get going for real in August. Like different levels of excitement, and not, it's a new room with it's going to be new faces in there, which is welcomed in a way to just freshen it up, and it makes my job fun.
What do you think the major differences might be this year for this offense? And does it have to do with Kevin being experienced? Does it have to do with you got 2 stud tight ends? Does it have to do with changing of the guard at receiver a little? I mean, new look offensive line, or what do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We're not going to hold you to it.
No,
too much.
I understand.
I'll play the clip only a few times after this.
Yeah, right. I get it. I think it's just, it feels like obviously some production has graduated, especially with Brashard, but we got a lot of our core back, and the offensive line. I think we're going to lean on those guys a lot this year. We like our offensive line. Obviously, Kevin, since the Penn State game, has done nothing that would say anything other than he's leading our team. And then out wide, the continued production of those 2 guys with Romello and Jordan. I think collectiveness, will be the synergy and collectiveness of our offense, and being able to attack people with a lot of people. And it was a little bit of that last year. Brashard kind of took that role of, we knew we were kind of trying to get him the ball. Yeah. But I think the microcosm of the offense is the running back room and those 4 guys. Like, okay, we got 4 guys we like on paper, but we like our offense on paper. Who are the guys that for 12 weeks are going to be able to get first downs? Yeah. Are going to be able to convert in the red zone? Coach calls the plays, but we need to execute. Who's going to execute? Kevin consistently, our offensive line, being able to run the football, I think is going to be huge. And I answered your question by not answering your question at all. So
I was going to say you have all of these pieces, a lot of explosiveness, we got some size at receiver, we've got some speed at receiver, we've got tight ends proven. It just seems like this offense, because Kevin is back as the guy. I mean, no offense Ty Hawkins, no offense Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, if you guys are going to be as successful as you were last year and potentially take it up a notch, it's going to be because you had this whole offseason as Kevin being the guy and this group coming together as a collectiveness.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. Yeah. I mean, this time last year he wasn't the guy. Yeah. And we knew he could be the guy, but he wasn't the guy. Right. And so now he's had, like I talked about, he's had, 6 months of being the guy, and he hasn't done anything for us to not feel good about that. Yeah. But, now knowing that, our offense isn't going to whole scale change. Yeah. We had Kevin for, 9 weeks of the season, something like that. So we know who he is. There may be a wrinkle or 2, but nothing that's going to surprise anybody.
What are the goals for you guys, now being entrenched in the ACC? You have, I don't know if there's maybe 1 or 2 players that are here from, the prior time with Coach Dykes, but this is, Rhett Lashley's team, Rhett Lashley's ACC team, your guys' collective team. What are the goals this summer? Now your program is that heart of that culture. Has it really changed, though, from AAC, SMU culture-wise?
I would say just moving up in weight class. Yeah. Just moving up in weight class. And we felt like we had to prove it last year. And Coach told the guys in a meeting, when they all came back a couple of days ago, was that we're going to have to prove it more. Like, now, yeah, a little bit, but the culture's been instilled. Our locker room is, as good as locker room I'll put it up against anybody. Those guys really like each other. And what's cool is the cohesiveness that happens so fast with the incoming guys. I think it's like when someone shows up maybe the year before as a transfer and they get another transfer guy coming in. They're like, hey, bro, this isn't like your last spot. Like, we do things like this. Gotcha. And there really is true buy-in to that, and it's a test to Coach Lashley. It's a test to Sean Griswold. Grizz, like, and his staff, and our whole staff. There's continuity on our staff too.
Yeah, not one departure.
So the players feed off that. The players like being around each other. They see that our staff likes each other, and that's how you have sustained success in a in an industry and in fleeting programs and fleeting staffs. And I'm not saying that this will be the same staff for the next 3 to 5 years, but for right now, in this moment, year 2 in the ACC, there's a lot of good energy in that regard.
Yeah, this has been great, man. I'm excited to see how it all works out, and we'll be, of course, chatting more as season approaches.
Yeah.
So thanks for doing this.
No problem.
All right. Kyle Cooper, SMU running backs coach and special teams coordinator. Actually, we didn't hit on special teams.
We didn't. We can. Well,
tell us.
Yeah.
Just give us the state of the. I think I asked you this when we chatted in spring. Give us the state of the union.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I would love to. So obviously, Colin Rogers is back at kicker, coming off an All-American season. He didn't like the way it finished for him, and rightfully so. And he's hungry to be even a step up. I mean, you talk about skill guys and their goals and aspirations. Colin, since he's came on campus, has had big goals, and he wants to go to the NFL. And for him to go to the NFL, he's going to have to work his butt off, and he's going to have to put statistics up with production in, beginning of the season, middle of the season, late in the season. Like, there's just not enough jobs at his position in the NFL for above average. You have to be exceptional. So he knows that. Punter, we'll be breaking in a new punter. Isaac Pearson graduated, so Wade McSparron's an Australian, a pro kit guy, a lefty, was with us this spring. Had a good spring. Still acclimating.
Yeah.
We say acclimatization period.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
much, and so I'm like,
yeah.
So he's still getting used to being stateside. Good leg, really powerful leg, big guy. Probably at least the same athlete in terms of as Isaac. And then we brought in a transfer punter from Cal Poly as a PWO, but he's been a 2-year starter at Cal Poly. So another lefty, so we don't have to change our scheme for those two to compete. I think it'll be, Isaac's going to run early on with the ones, but it's going to be a true competition. Wade. Yeah. Wade is going to run early on. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
With the ones. Maybe we can cut it. The long snapping situation, we had a transfer from Colorado State who was their starter. Really, really excited about Morgan Trebet out of the portal there at snapper. And then, punt return, kick return. We got a bunch of guys that can do it.
Ymir Knight, punt returner.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously
he's
there's
done it.
Options.
No, he's probably got the most game experience, and that was, was an element in his recruiting that we talked about, and so he'll get a crack at it. We want guys who can be trusted at the punt return spot. Guys that we, can get the ball back to our offense. That's the biggest point of that position. Get the ball back to the offense. Obviously, be explosive. That's secondary. Junior was that last year. So, and then kick return, we'll see. A couple of those running backs will have a chance. A couple of receivers. There's been a couple of DBs that have been pushing for it. So, we'll see. We'll see early on and get with the staff and get their feedback on it. But those will be big time camp decisions.
Yeah.
I'll say this on special teams: our body types on our roster are gonna help on special teams. We have last year, you remember we added a couple guys late in the summer.
Terrian
Lee and Celestin from San Diego State. We added late as special teams bodies, and they both played a lot of teams.
Yeah.
We're not in that position this year. We feel really good about a lot of young players are going to play on teams.
It's time for your Brandon Bookers and the guys that are going to be your teamers a little bit better than I do. But
that'd be good. Obviously, we want our starters on offense and defense to contribute on teams.
Right.
But it helps Casey Horny and I when you have a core special teams group of 8 to 10 guys that are on multiple units that when we
push the culture.
Push that culture for sure. And then at 7 a.m., special teams meeting starts the day here at SMU. And so at 7 a.m., who's in the front rows, like, listening to my butt talk about special teams? Like, I need energy in that. So,
Awesome.
that's a good special teams, round table, good 20,000 foot view of that.
Oh yeah,
It might even be lower than 20,000 foot.
Yeah, no. You flew us right over the rooftops. Buzzed the tower a little
Yeah,
bit. Woke everybody up for 7
I will
a.m.
mention one more guy, Sam Keltner, who we brought in from Keller as a PWO kicker. He's been really impressive. He's now going to be a redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
He's been really good. He's got a bright future here.
Awesome.
Yep.
Great stuff. Kyle Cooper, SMU running backs coach, special teams coordinator, stopping by on the Pony Express podcast. Thanks for doing this, brother.
Yes, sir. Bye.